The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where we explore how forward-thinking leaders are using AI to transform industries, empower teams, and create smarter systems for growth. I'm Elise Smith, your AI business strategist with Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, where we help founders and marketing leaders blend human connection with AI innovation to scale faster and lead with clarity. And today's guest works at the intersection of healthcare, technology, and media, three spaces that are rapidly transforming with AI. So I'm joined by Stephany Rosa, a global healthcare media strategist who has spent over 15 years bridging science and storytelling. She began her career in nuclear medicine. How cool is that, guys? Before transitioning to the business side of healthcare, where she'd led digital and omni-channel strategies for pharmaceutical companies, rare disease brands, and oncology organizations around the world. Stephany now helps healthcare brands use technology, including AI, to communicate with precision, ethics, and empathy, from ad targeting systems that reach physicians directly on social media to AI workflows that streamline team operations. Her work is shaping the future of healthcare communication. So, Stephany, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the great introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your story. Who do you serve and how do you serve them?
So my story comes from a heavily science-based background. I found myself really interested in the healthcare space after I had a couple of grandparents experience cancer. While I was in college, I was trying to decide, where should I go into? And nuclear medicine was that path for me. I found that modality to be the most interesting in regards to, one, being able to diagnose a patient and seeing where the cancer really was and working with those care teams to really provide precision in regards to what was happening for each of our patients. So out of that really set the foundation for me to really understand how was communication happening in the field, right? Outside of the media's understanding, how are the day-to-day communications happening with patients, with physicians, and then how do we really bridge that understanding to the business side of things?
Wow, that is amazing. And I'm so sorry for your loss, but I love how, those types of situations can really fuel us in our path. And it sounds like that's really what happened with you. So tell us a little bit more about Equals 5 and what that is and what you do there.
Yeah, so Equals 5 is a really exciting company. They just founded about 5 years ago, and they really have brought forward a new technology that hasn't existed before. Working in the social media space for the past 15 years in rare disease and oncology has been an adventure, to say the least. One, was really the gateway. So when I speak about the gateway, I say the gateway into social, because it's a new channel that the pharmaceutical industry had really tapped into the past maybe 15-ish, 20 years. But now really really learning how to streamline communications around websites, around banner placements, around emails. But social was a very unique place because these new platforms were emerging across industries and everyone wanted a little piece of it. And so Equals 5 was founded to really understand how to target doctors at the right place at the right time, but specifically on social in a way where they were utilizing physicians' license numbers rather than behavioral targeting across these major platforms. And so it's really interesting, one, to be able to bring that technology forward, but understanding how our technology is built from AI insights has been exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, what surprised you most about like how technology is reshaping this space? Because it sounds like, I mean, I wouldn't have normally thought about technology being involved in that type of thing when it comes to physicians. So, tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, technology in itself, I mean, I studied nuclear medicine, but it was nuclear medicine technology, right? So
Mm.
understanding the engineering behind our different capabilities. So just image, let's, for example, let's compare imaging as a base point. So, we have different types of imaging, like let's say an X-ray, right? An X-ray can show you the bone structure and a little bit of white and blackness. But then you step into another level of imaging, and that brings you into nuclear medicine. So nuclear medicine
Mm.
brings you into actually seeing the functionality and the structure of the human body. Right. So when I take a look at how technology in diagnostic imaging has progressed over the years and apply that now to media, right, and how our social channels have really expanded our understanding in behavioral data behind the media, not just pushing the data out, but now how does this actually interact with communities? How does our media and
Mm.
messaging interact with decision making? And not just an understanding of, our ads has been received, someone has seen it, but now what was the impact of that? And now bringing this to a whole another level of you can react to these comments, you can react to this media, not just receive it. And so it's
Mhm.
now becoming this ecosystem of not only being able to target media in a certain way, but what are we learning from it now?
Absolutely. And I can tell you have a passion for what you do. Like it just kind of oozes out of you, which is awesome. So, what is like your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite part of what I do, one, is the people I work with. The people I work with are super talented and really excited about the technology that really evolving on a daily basis. Um, but I think what stands out to me the most is being able to have an impact in a way where we can actually measure it. Um, and to that fact about, really now having the technology exists where we're not only just pushing out media, we're now receiving behavioral data, we're receiving demographic data, we're receiving data of the audiences our brands really care about, rather
Mm,
than kind of sending a net out. And
yeah.
so the precision way for me is the way forward. Really understanding segmenting, understanding your market, and now being able to use technology to get that media at the right place at the right time. It's not just, okay, we're just going US based now. Now we can actually go down to a zip code level.
Mhm.
What is the languages being spoken to in this city? Is it Spanish? Is it more French? Is it more English? What are the demographics in that area? And how could our messaging and the way we create our ads have a deeper impact given the precision now we're able to do with our media placements?
Wow. It sounds like you have a background in marketing. Like, where did this come from?
A little bit of a trial and error.
School of Hard
Um,
Knocks, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, what was interesting for me, just coming up, my background was heavily science, but I had I went to school back and forth. I have an AA in nuclear medicine technology. I went back to school and got another AA in just regular associates in science. And then I got a bachelor's that had a double major minor. So I had a major in health, a major in behavioral and social sciences, and a minor in interpersonal and organizational communications. So what
Wow.
was interesting was that being, studying nuclear medicine and being in the field and being at the hospital, it's a very science heavy place. Everything is formulas, everything's protocols, everything is to the book. And having that understanding made me want to really explore what communications really was, because
Mm.
communications kind of is not a science forward way. Sometimes even you talk to doctors and they're a little bit socially awkward, because they're sitting in, especially, radiologists or neuroscientists, they're really like in the weeds of things and are not really socializing, so to speak. So one, being able now to speak to our doctors on social, the ones that are social, being active, and how do we learn from that? How do we give them those opportunities to share patient stories, to share their insights, to find the right community on social, and not only bring patient stories forward, but now how do we actually document and archive these understandings and bring them to a place where they can be searchable, and social does that for us.
Yeah, that I love the human aspect of your story too, because I think we've all had that doctor that just seems a little bit off, and so I think it's quite the challenge to market to doctors, and you've taken that on beautifully. So let's talk about your scaling story a little bit. When you think about how long you guys have been in business and all of the growing pains that you've gone through, what were some of those things that were like really difficult lessons to learn, but you're so glad you got them out of the way?
Well, I think any business, is going to have its struggles, regardless of what life cycle they're in. I think Equals 5 is in a very, very fortunate situation where there's a very high demand and a need for this type of technology to exist. I think we have seen this just in general standing point, right? We have now, the government getting involved with kind of saying, we need to make these drug advertisements a little bit more stricter in regards to how are these being approved to share with public, right? That's a nuance, right? In addition to that, it's, really now how do we again utilize new technology to get the right message to the right people? The pharmaceutical industries were utilizing social media in a more consumer basis because those platforms were made that way. And so being able to make these campaigns, they're kind of going to broad audiences, and sometimes to people that are not even interested, because they're just kind of being grouped along in a lookalike audience or something of that sort, right? Depending on which social platform. But one is the education part, right? One is really understanding where the market is, where can it go, but where are people how are they utilizing it now, and how do they shift in their usage, right? Of understanding how to do social media the right way in the pharmaceutical space, whether you're marketing to consumers, patients, or you're marketing to your healthcare provider. So first I say education, right? The second part is the onboarding, right? Really understanding the client, understanding the brand, understanding what their true goals are, and then moving into like a discovery phase, right? Okay, we've educated everyone of where we're at. We know we're all onboarding onto this platform. Two is discovering where are the true needs of this campaign, how do we actually really need to set this up? And that kind of bleeds into media planning, right? So now we have our media plan and we're kind of trying to lock down exactly what it is we need, where we want to be, how much we want to spend, which ads need more emphasis or not. And then the implementation part of it really is where you kind of understand, one, is this actually going to work, or is this not going to work? But once you're done with the implementation, launching, now it's the digital digest of the data, right? And so once now we're able to get to the point where we can show our data and we can compare our data, we're looking at it on an omni-channel scope or perspective, then we can really dig down and say, okay, hey, here we are. How much of this has been a success? Where can we scale now? Or where do we need to pull back from? Or what learnings did we learn from here? And so going through those steps for me, I call them the big six. I'll go through the big six, and then once we're at our six, can we scale? Can we rinse and repeat? Can we, what can we do at that point? And so I think watching any company go through these steps, but I think Equals 5 just does this really well from an account basis. We're really digging in from the beginning up front to really understand what the goals are and to make sure we're setting up things for success, and then understanding where our learnings are, and then how do we optimize from there.
Yeah. And I love how your logical brain just puts them in steps that people can follow, and it's a proven system. And and I thought you were gonna say 5 steps. So I have to ask, where does the name equals 5 come from?
So it's funny because sometimes when you add things up, they don't always equal what you think they might equal. So the founders came up with this, and it is something funny, but we say 2 + 2 = 5 because there's always just a little bit more added value than you think there is in there, and we bring that forward.
I love that. That's beautiful. It really says a lot about your company. So how are you guys using AI in your space right now and your company in general?
So it's been really interesting seeing and working with different companies in regards to how excited they are about using AI, how maybe confused or they're working in the unknown of AI. There's so many different tools right now being developed and rolled out into our space, just being in business in general. But what I'm finding is that open AI has so many robust features that could be utilized. And how we utilize that, I think, is really more of the question than, what are we using it for? Like, why are we using it? What are we using it for? Um, so, from the day to day perspective, there are kind of 4 areas where we find AI to be useful, at least in our day-to-days, and where we're actually implementing like work streams to understand, okay, this at this point, go ahead and use AI. At this point, okay, go ahead and use AI. So these 4 pillars. So first, right, is concepting. Concepting. I kind of blend that in with, what are the big ideas? What are some big ideas that we can come up with? In addition to, bringing the team together to brainstorm, we're utilizing AI to drive those conversations, to spark up ideas, to see
Mm.
what's feasible, because we're finding that this AI is just a power brain house. Like, how do we utilize this as a brain in our meeting rooms to help bounce ideas off of?
Love
Right?
it.
So we have that concept portion of it. The second portion of it is market research. We
Mm.
found that, though there are some nuances in regards to the facts that are being pulled in OpenAI, it's we can't deny the fact of how quick information can be easily just condensed and consolidated for the reason that we need it for, right? So if we're
Mhm.
looking for comparisons in a drug, or if we're looking for comparisons in, what different drugs are in the pipeline across the globe, those are really quick responses that we can get and validate if we need to make sure that, one, we're staying on top of the trends. Two, we have a quick way to get robust information. And that allows us to do that. The third part of it is creative development. So in the marketing world, creative development, there has been we've gone from this multi-channel to omni-channel, and I think we're taking ourselves into segment. It's more like, I don't know what the word is just yet, but it's more I would say precision marketing. So we're
Mm.
going from multi to omni to precision,
Yeah.
right? And so from multi, let's say you had one print ad, and that print ad, it was just one piece that lived on its own, kind of saw what happened with it. Then we went into omni-channel and it was like, okay, let's take this print piece, but let's make it into an email. Let's also make it into a banner. Let's also make it into a social ad. And maybe we'll add a QR code to that print piece to see if we can kind of do some tracking with that. And that was kind of like our omni-channel, one message across multiple channels. And
Mhm.
now what we're seeing, what we're leaning into, is this precision marketing. And how do we do that in regards to getting to the right person at the right place at the right time? Narrow enough to even speak to the doctor one to one, right? So being able to develop creative and messaging that's across maybe multiple regions or multiple zip codes or to multiple doctors and multiple versions of creative, being able to come up with all copy options, creative options a lot quicker, but knowing that is prompted by our main concept step, right?
Mhm.
And so that is definitely a big one. And now the fourth one I would say is that data digest, and it's really more about insights, right? So being able to utilize AI and say, okay, hey, this is how our campaign performed. These were certain dates that, there might have been events happening. Give me some high level insights based on the data I've just provided to you, right? So giving our analytics team now a leg up in understanding, okay, what are our golden nuggets here? What are we truly calling out and why? Right. And so those four are the big places where I see like just the day-to-day utilization of making things a little bit quicker, and being accessible.
Yeah.
It's just having information very accessible.
And the precision marketing, like, I don't know, I'm a marketing geek too, and and that just gets me so excited because it's not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks. And
Right.
so many people, like, that's their marketing strategy. And so I love the word precision even that you use there, because it really is focused, and it comes from this incredible strategy that I know you guys have, which is really, really cool. So when it comes to using AI, how do you guys make sure that you use it responsibly?
So we have some parameters in place in regards to one, we know when if we're utilizing AI, is that going client facing or is it staying internally? I would say
Mm.
internally, it's free for all. We are having fun. We are exploring. We are chat GPTing it all day long if we need to, but allowing ourselves to give us that freedom to explore that, allowing our different departments to feel free to utilize that. However, when we are moving into client facing items, the things need to be fact checked. We have to validate certain points, but we're not writing an essay being submitted to Professor Stan for an A, right? We are moving, we're past that. We're actually utilizing these features and these tools in real case scenarios, real life events, to help us gauge and make more strategic decisions based on the data that we're receiving from OpenAI.
And just think about how much time that saves us, right? Like, just research alone. Man, it used to be a full-time job for someone, and now they get to focus on something that they're probably more passionate about. Because I'm not sure anyone's really that passionate about research. Uh,
Exactly,
But
exactly.
it's amazing. It really is incredible what OpenAI specifically has been able to do for our society, and it's just going to get better and better. So
Oh
let's
yeah.
talk about the future of Equals Five. What are some exciting things that are coming up that you can give us a sneak peek for?
Oh, there's so many fun things. So I think right now, given the fact that the platform that we've built is really built to target creative or ads on a one-to-one to an NPI number, right? And the
Mm,
fact of we right now, I would say we have in our system, we're the only company that provides that level of targeting at NPI level on
mm,
Reddit, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, um, uh, Pinterest, Quora. We
mm.
can also do Yahoo, Microsoft. But being able to really hone in on the social media ecosystem, we've already done that very well. But I think what we might want to expand is really understanding what is considered social, right? And so does that mean WhatsApp? Does that mean WeChat? Does that mean Pandora? Does that mean Spotify? Like how many of those
Interesting.
other considered social networks can we build our platform to serve at an MPI level? I think that's really exciting. And then just in
Mm.
general, our platform is always, we're receiving client feedback. I would say we're like the Hootsuite for HCPs. It's kind of like that. So, if you're doing social for doctors or, healthcare professionals, Equals 5 is the way to do it, the right way.
Yeah. And especially because it's so niche too. I love the fact that you guys serve a very specific audience for a very specific reason. And I think that that's one of the reasons why you guys have had the success that you have instead of trying to serve everyone with everything. So
Right.
very, very smart. You're taking your own precision advice. I love
Exactly.
it. So let's talk about AI. Now, if we could build you an AI agent, because that's what we do here at Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, what would you want it to take on? Like what kind of task or duty or responsibility would you give an AI agent if it could do anything in your business?
One thing would be to replying to emails promptly.
Mm,
So confirming, your email has been received. We are looking into this. We'll get back to you. And something that, and I think that is a little bit of a cheat because it's more about customer service and really, just showing, hey, we received this, we're working on it, and not waiting a 24 hours or 48 hours to respond to an email. I think that's one thing in client services, especially in the agency and media world, that it really differentiates like, who's really good to work with versus not. I think email responsiveness is something that would
mm.
be really cool.
Yeah. What kind of emails do you guys get, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, just client engagement emails like, oh, hey, we've sent you over this file. Take a look at it. And it's just confirming, hey, thank you for sending this over. We've received it. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Something of that sort. So kind of like a voicemail, but for email.
Oh,
And
yeah.
not necessarily of like having the auto response, right? It's
Uh-huh.
like auto response, yeah, I'm out of office, or hey, I'm at a convention, I'm not available right now. But more so in your day to day, like, hey, this email came in, maybe a quick acknowledgement of a button, and it kind of auto replies, you know, just confirming responsiveness.
Yeah. And I'm a dreamer when it comes to AI. So, what if it was like connected to your internal systems where it's like, yep, we did receive this and it got moved over to, this stage of the process. And then that actually gets sent back to the client to have like that great transparent communication. So yes,
Exactly.
we could definitely do something like that for you. Awesome.
Pretty
Well, this
cool.
has been so fun to just talk about what you guys are doing in your space and really what's possible with AI and just how you've been able to grow your company. So, for those founders and business owners, even VPs and executives who are really wanting to take their business and double or triple it in the next 6 months, especially when it comes to technology, what kind of advice would you give them?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just do it. Just do it. Test and learn. If you fail together, pick back up, try again. There's so much to learn, there's so much to apply, but it's really about like getting down and dirty. Like
Mhm.
keep trying, and until it feels like a habit.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be a habit to fail every day, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Imagine what we would be able to create as a society if we just really accepted quote unquote failure as just part of the learning process. Because nothing's ever going to be perfect and it's never going to be exactly what you want it to be. But if you don't try, you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, love that. What a great golden nugget. I hope you guys wrote that down and took that to heart. And Stephany, it's just been so fun having you on the show today. So if people want to connect with you, obviously they can go to equals5.com, but anywhere else that you'd like them to connect with you at?
Yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn at Stephany Rosa. You can find me there. But yeah, feel free to reach out to equals5.com. My email is stephany.rosa@equals5.com if you want to reach out to me directly. Glad to have a conversation.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Well, so neat. And thank you once again for being on the show today and just bringing the amazing energy that you have. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Mastering AI Momentum Show. Until next time, keep innovating, keep iterating, and keep building your momentum with AI as your advantage. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, Build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.